Good afternoon. This is Rich Nelson with Allendale coming to wrap up commodity comments. Today is Wednesday. This is October 26th of 2011 here. Obviously, all eyes are still on this EU situation. Keep in mind these leaders from the EU are meeting in Brussels here today, and actually, based on EU time, they actually were very early this morning. And we had expected to get some type of comment or hopes or something like that, at least out by maybe 8 or 9 o'clock this morning, maybe before the market opened. And obviously, we did not get any announcement of progress from these guys at 8 or 9 this morning before the market opened. We didn't hear any comments here throughout the trade today, and obviously after the pit trade closed, we still haven't heard anything here. So obviously some pretty big disappointment on the grain trade from this news here. And of course, keep in mind these officials are having to try to decide on three things. Number one, they've all got to agree on how bad this whole Greek government is going to have to restrict spending even more in the coming months in order to get further bailout funds. So that's number one. Number two, they also have to decide exactly how much of a write-off, or it's also called a haircut, that these holders of old Greek debt have to take. Currently, right now, the talk is maybe up to 50%, but right now the banks are not jumping on that one here as well. So they have that to decide. The third thing they have to decide is, you know what, we all know that there's got to be an increase in the bailout fund. Exactly how to structure this fund and what amount this fund should actually total in terms of potential lending is the third thing here. So obviously these leaders have quite a bit going on, and though we are a little disappointed we didn't hear any progress signs throughout the trading day, some people say that they will actually go through the night, which means through our afternoon here in the U.S., and maybe later on, maybe by tonight, this evening, we might even hear something. So a little disappointing there. As far as grain trade today, corn down 12.5, beans down 15, and wheat down 16 3/4. As far as new news to speak of, we're still noting that as far as weather, it's still bearish for soybeans. The fact that the South American pattern has turned to normal to above normal precip is certainly showing good signs for the crops down there. Also, weather is a little bearish on the wheat side. The fact that some forecasts are showing normal to above normal precip for the plains going into mid to later next week. So that's also a little bearish there. Other things we can point out, mainly on the wheat side, Japan did buy its first cargo here of Ukraine wheat. That could set a pattern where they start displacing U.S. wheat in favor of that cheaper Black Sea origin product. So in other words, we do have some things to discuss here in the industry which are a little disappointing for right now. As far as our big news for Allendale for this week, certainly on the research side, quite a bit going on. We're actually going to tackle that very big issue that's on everybody's minds of, well, we have dry conditions now in the fall. Will that last into the spring? If you watch our research product next few days, we'll actually tackle that issue and tell you about the last 11 years. Keep in mind, 7 of those last 11 years had a setup just like this, with a dry fall. Now, you have to subscribe to our research if you aren't already, in order to find out how many of those 7 years actually still had a dry period lasting into spring. So that's very important, and we will be covering this very timely topic here in depth in this week's comments. As far as livestock, obviously a little disappointing trade. Cattle down $1.12. Hogs down about 85 cents. As far as the cattle, we did have a little lower trade today based on this EU uncertainty here, but realistically, this is not a major panic point. We do have cash cattle which will trade this week. Talk right now is bids at 120, asking prices of 123 to 124. Those kind of structures give you an idea that maybe we'll trade about $1 higher, maybe some 121 and 122s later on this week. So that's actually not bad to speak of as far as the cattle. On the hog side, this has been a disappointing trade in the past few days. The fact is we are kind of confirming these ideas of a top here for cash hogs and cash pork. And that's obviously a little disappointing to many in the trade who've built up long positions over the past few weeks. So quite a bit going on there as far as short-term news. As far as longer-term news, obviously we have our January conference we've been discussing here for some time. And you know what? It looks like we may be on pace here for some record numbers. We've got quite a good start in terms of getting people signed up. So this is going to be an exciting conference, and you need to get your seat reserved already by calling us here as soon as possible, 800-262-7538. Lastly, if you aren't on the research product yet, get signed up for a research product on the website. You can do that by calling or going ahead and take a look at our website, allendale-inc.com. This is Rich Nelson. Have a good trading day and a good trading week.